Right, so in this video we're going to have a good look at how side spin works. So I get lots of questions when I post my videos up and I'm applying bits of side to the cue ball. People are always asking, well, how do you adjust your aiming when you're playing with side? Do you need to make allowances for the side, and how does side spin work? So in this video we're going to try and have a detailed look at exactly what's happening to the cue ball when we play with side, and hopefully that's going to clear things up for a lot of people. Right, so let's start off then by having a look at this simple shot to the middle that I've set up here. So I've set myself up on this blue and I'm absolutely perfectly straight on this pot. So first of all, let's look at if I didn't play any side spin on this shot at all. So if we were to bring the line of aim up on the screen, my white needs to travel along this line so that it hits the blue ball full in the face, and then the blue should go into the pocket. So this line of aim assumes that I'm hitting the centre of the white, so I'm not hitting to the left at all and I'm not hitting to the right. I'm hitting right in the centre of the white ball, and as long as I do that, my white should travel along this line of aim and hit the blue and pop the ball. So let's have a look at one of those. Okay, so now let's look at playing this same shot then with some side spin. So let's say I'm going to pot this blue and I'm going to pot it and I'm going to play left hand side on the white. So let's talk about the two main things that are happening when we apply side spin to the ball. The first thing we've got deflection. So when I hit the white on the left, I'm going to get some deflection of the cue ball. And then the second thing we've got the arc that the white then takes, or the swerve that the white does, because it's spinning to the side after we apply that side spin. So let's look at the deflection then. So obviously when I'm aiming up to the left of the white ball, when I eventually strike the white ball on the left hand side, what's going to happen to the white is it's going to get pushed off over to the right hand side. So as I'm looking at this cue ball, when I apply that left hand side, I will push my white over to the right. Now, the reason side spin becomes a bit complicated is the amount that I'm going to push my white off to the right will depend on how much side spin I'm applying. So whether I'm putting a little bit of left hand side on won't necessarily push the white too much to the right hand side. And then also how hard I am hitting the ball is also going to influence how much my white ball will move to the right hand side. So let's take two extreme examples. Let's say I'm not really applying much left hand side, just a little bit, and I'm only hitting the white ball quite softly. Well, if I play that shot, the white ball is not going to deflect much to the right hand side. It will a little bit, but not very much. Now, the other side of that is, let's say I'm applying quite a lot of left hand side, maximum left hand side, and I'm hitting the shot very, very hard. What's going to happen to my white ball is it's going to deflect a lot to the right hand side. It's really going to push off the original line of aim and push over to the right. Now, the second thing that's going to happen to this white ball when we apply side spin is that the white ball is going to do a curve or a little arc, and it's going to return somewhere towards the original line of aim. Now, this is because obviously in our example here, we've hit the white ball on the left hand side, so we've started the white ball spinning, and then as it's travelling along the table, that spin is going to cause the white to do a little bit of an arc along the table. Now, we've got these two effects then. We're hitting the ball on the left hand side, and we're going to get that initial deflection of the white going off to the right hand side as we look at the shot, and then the white ball is going to start to do a curve and come somewhere back towards the left, and then returning somewhere towards its original line of aim. So let's have a look at a couple of shots here so that we can give some examples of exactly what's happening to this white ball when we apply different amounts of side. Okay, so in this first example here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this blue and I'm going to put lots of left-hand side on the white ball, and I'm going to hit the shot very, very firmly. But what I'm going to do with my aiming is not make any compensation for the fact that I'm using side. So I'm just going to aim to pop this blue like I normally would, but we're playing lots of left-hand side and we're going to play the shot nice and firm. So let's have a look at one of these. So you can see there that we missed the blue to the left-hand side of the pocket as I'm looking there by quite some distance. So what's happened there in our first example is, as we talked about at the beginning here about the deflection of the cue ball, what happened was I didn't make any adjustments with my aiming. I was aiming up to hit the blue right in the centre so that I got the pot, but because I was playing left-hand side on the cue ball, What happened with the white is it deflected over to the right hand side as I look, it got pushed off the line of aim, it hit the blue slightly on the right hand side, and that's why the blue then missed to the left of the pocket. Right, so let's have a look at example number 2 then. So in this shot what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply left hand side to the cue ball again, but this time I'm going to hit the shot much softer. So I'm going to hit this shot gently, I'm going to apply left hand side on the white, and again I'm going to make no compensation with my aiming. I'm just going to aim up to pop this blue as I normally would. So left hand side, nice and gently. So you can see that time what happened was that my white ball caught the left hand side of the blue as I look at it very slightly again, and that caused the blue to go into the right hand side of the pocket. So the reason for that time was that when we played that shot, we played left hand side, didn't hit the shot very hard, so the deflection that we got on the white ball was very minimal. It didn't push off to the right very much, and then what happened was we got that arc or that curve effect that we talked about, and the white ball curved back to the line of aim and then actually got a little bit past it and actually ended up catching the blue slightly off centre, which caused us to pop that ball slightly to the right of the pocket. Right, so in this third example here, I've just swapped my cue ball for this half and half cue ball so that we can see the side spin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this shot with lots of left hand side again, and we're going to play the shot very firmly. But this time I am going to make some compensations with my aiming so that hopefully I do pop the blue ball. So we saw in the first example that when we played this shot and we played it firmly, we got lots of deflection on the white ball. So I hit the white on the left, it then pushed off to the right, meaning that we contacted our blue ball on the right hand side, and that caused us to miss that blue to the left of the pocket. So this time I'm going to allow for that deflection so that by the time our white gets to the blue, it should hopefully be at the correct contact point. So how do I allow for that deflection then? I'm going to aim up to hit my blue slightly on the left hand side this time, and then because of all that side spin I've got on the white ball, I'm going to push my white to the right, and by the time it gets to the blue, it should be on the correct line. So let's have a go at one of those. And we can see there that time I allowed for all that side spin that I'd put on the white ball. You could see that even after the shot there, the white ball was still spinning for a second because of all that side. But that time I'd made an allowance for the fact that my white was going to get pushed offline, and that time I caught the correct contact point on the blue. Right, so this is where side spin in the real world starts to get a little bit complicated. So the distance between the two balls, so the object ball and the cue ball, is also very important. So when we get that initial deflection that we're talking about, if we haven't got much distance between the white ball and the object ball, then the white ball won't have much time to do that curve and start to do its arc and return somewhere towards the original line of aim. If you've got more distance between the white ball and the object ball, the white ball has got much more time after that initial deflection to then start its arc and come somewhere back towards the original line that we aimed on before we had that deflection. So let's take, for example then, this shot on the blue that I've looked at in a previous video of mine. So I need to pop the blue and I want to come off the black cushion and check the white up for the two reds that go into the corner. We're going to have a look at this shot and I'm going to explain how I compensate for my aiming and what you need to think about so that you can apply side when you're playing these shots. Right, so if I was to play this shot on the blue then, but I was to pop the blue with just topspin, so not using any side, the problem would be that I would pop the blue to the middle, but after the white ball hit the black cushion, the white would run away to the side cushion and I'd be too far away from those two reds. So on this shot, I'm going to pop the blue and I'm going to use left-hand side on the white so that when the white hits the black cushion, it's going to check the white up, so stop the white from running towards the side cushion and keep the white ball nicely in the middle of the table. So what I need to think about then is I'm going to apply maximum left-hand side, but not very hard. So I am going to get some of that deflection that we talked about first, and then the white ball will obviously start to do that curve that we talked about as well. But because the distance between the white ball and the blue ball, in this case, there's not very much distance between the two balls, the white isn't really going to have time to do much of a curve. So with all those things in mind, what I've decided here is that I actually need to aim up to hit this blue a little bit thinner than I normally would. And if I aim up to hit this blue a little bit thinner, what's going to happen is when I apply all that left-hand side, because I'm putting lots of left-hand side on as much as I can get on the white, when I put all that left-hand side on, I'm going to push the white slightly to the right-hand side, which will get me the slightly thicker contact on the blue than where I was actually aiming, and that should then be at the correct contact point, and I should pop the ball. So let's have a look at playing one of these shots then. Making those compensations using the side. And you can see that we've potted the blue there nicely, checked the white off the black cushion, which has held the white in the middle of the table for those two reds. So when I'm playing with side spin, those are the allowances that I'm trying to make for judging my potting angles and the calculations that you need to be doing when you're playing each shot. Right, so hopefully people have got a better understanding now of what we're trying to do when we're aiming and playing these shots with side spin. So I think at first these shots can seem a little bit complicated, but I think once we've got a better understanding of exactly what's happening with the cue ball, with this deflection that we've talked about, and with the cue ball doing its arc and its curve, then it's much easier to start then building on that and getting a more natural feel for how the cue ball is behaving. So at first it can seem complicated, but as you get better doing it, you'll start to make these allowances with your aiming much more naturally. Now, there are also a couple of other things that can influence how the cue ball behaves when we play with side spin. So the cue is definitely one of those things. So some cues tend to deflect the cue ball a little bit more when we're applying side, and some cues will deflect the cue ball less. So that's another thing to take into account. Also, you've got what table you're playing on. So club tables tend to play a little bit differently to match tables that have got brand new slippy slidey cloths on. But for now, the things that we've talked about in this video with the deflection and the cue ball arc, they're the main things that you need to concentrate on, so that hopefully you improve your shots with using side spin and improve your aiming. So as always, if you did enjoy this video, then please give the video a like. If you want to see more instructional tutorials just like this one, then please subscribe to the channel. And also I just wanted to say, if you do watch these videos and you haven't already subscribed, then please do consider doing so, because that really just helps the channel get noticed and helps me devote more time to doing these videos. You can also support these videos on Patreon, so for anyone that wants to offer a little bit of extra support so that I can spend more time filming and editing these videos, the link for that is in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching. Cheers.